three different ways that people can pay for care in the home or assisted living. And that is privately, Medicaid. If someone is on Medicaid, what happens is for in-home care, you've got to go to an agency that is a Medicaid provider. If you need assisted living, let me just tell you, unfortunately, your only option. You will have to go, you cannot go to any of the assisted livings because they've stopped providing that type of care. That type of care is only provided in the skilled nursing facilities. Now, I don't really like to share this, but I have to tell it the way that it is. So all the listening ears that are out there, maybe we can make a difference via these words.
I'm sorry, Joan, but I'm really having a hard time hearing you.
Okay, thanks. That's what I need to know. So if you're on Medicaid and you're looking for long-term care, you can only go to a community, and 100% of that time it's a skilled nursing facility. So the reason being is this: Medicaid only pays these facilities so much money. It's like $1,281 or whatever it changes. So that includes the rent, the care, the electricity, the food. That's not very much. So what happens is you end up most of the time always having 2 people in a room or 4 people in a room. There are some places that have 4 people in a room. And it is definitely a hospital environment. If you've got someone that's got dementia and you're on Medicaid, I am sorry, because there's not really good care for someone that is on Medicaid and has dementia. It's just what reality is. So my spoken words are to let you know we have room for improvement. And I'm sorry to speak it, because you know the need for that is huge. In today's world, most of the Medicaid waiting list for long-term care is teetering on 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. Now there are ways to work around the system. Go ahead.
Can I divert just 1 minute?
Yeah.
Say you want to stay in your home, but you're at the point you want someone to come in.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have an organization that has lists of qualified people that we could choose from? In other words, instead of that answering a newspaper ad and this.
Let me tell you what you can do. But here again, what is your definition of qualified?
Well,
Good quality?
that is conscientious, will take good care of the person, is honest.
No, there is no such list. That's why I'm saying you've got to do your homework. It's no different than going and looking for a doctor. You know, you can go out there on the OLC and you can get a list of all companies like me. Or you can go to the senior advocate and you can get a list of all companies that they've got. But I'm going to tell you, it's no different than your medical care. You know, a doctor that you're going to, you've got to do your homework. You really do. You've got to go talk to people that you trust that have experienced. You know, or don't, realize, there are different companies, just like the assisted livings, that have different gifts. That's why I suggest you go interview them. You go look at their staff. You go talk to their staff. Let them tell you how they're going to take care of your loved one or yourself or whoever. You know what? Go with your gut. 100% of your time, go with your gut. But let's just say, for example, you choose something and it doesn't work. You can always switch. Even if you're on Medicaid, You do not have to use XYZ company. If XYZ company can never get a caregiver to show up, can never do anything but sit on the sofa, guess what? Everybody's not like that. I'm just letting you know. Everybody deserves good care, and guess what? There is good care out here. Yes, Lucy?
Well, also, part of what you can do though is ask, is that company insured? Are there, I wouldn't let anybody come in to my mom's house if the person hasn't been, bonded and.
But guess what?
That doesn't work.
The state laws, it doesn't work. I'll
Doesn't
tell
work.
you why. Under the OLC, you have to have that. That is, I cannot have a license unless I'm insured and bonded and
Well,
drug
have all
test.
Your caregivers had a background check?
Yes. Every single one of my caregivers have
So
background checks.
that's, as opposed
Yeah.
to hiring your neighbor to come in who, you think is a good person. That's one of the benefits of having a
Mhm.
company that you might have to pay a little bit more, but they've been, bonded, insured, and they've had a background check.
Mhm.
So then that way, if you do have maybe the person is one of those bad eggs, and they steal some stuff,
So let me tell you some of the other tough questions you can ask. Some other tough questions you can ask is this. Now, Lucy brought out a really good point. Don't always go with the cheapest, because let me just tell you something right now. Like a lot of other things, you get what you pay for. And the reason I say that is this. Ask the companies, what type of training do you provide for your caregivers? What type of recognition do you have for your caregivers? Because I'm going to tell you something right now. If you got a company that doesn't focus on helping, building from the inside out, they're not going to be focused on you. They're only focused on it as a business. That's not what we're talking about right here. That's why I'm letting you guys know that what you've got today that's new is choices. And everybody deserves really good care. It is, now can you have opportunities? You can always have opportunities, but find out how they work. Find out what they focus on. If they only focus on, if they don't ask you those tough questions about wanting to know everything about mom, or want to know everything about you, so they can be really good communicators and relate to you the way you want to be communicated to, you better go look at option B. Keep searching. Don't assume.
Degrees, medical degree.
Mhm.
I'm always amazed, sometimes I'll read an obituary, and they will, after the relatives, they will thank so-and-so, my devoted caregiver. And that's why I was curious, if there's a place for these special caregivers.
I have to, you know what, I'll get to you real quick. That's an excellent point. You know what you need to do? Ask for some of those testimonials. You know what I'm saying is this, you know what, do they have a program that really talks about their successes, whether the successes are with the client or whether the successes are with the caregiver? That's hugely important, because if they got lots of successes, don't you think mom's going to be treated the way you want her to be treated?
I have a personal assistant, but social services had a program and they have a grant, and they pay for my personal assistant. I just hire them. Now, there are good ones and there are bad ones. The bad ones I got rid of right away, but then you can do again and get a good one. You can't hire family members, but you can hire anyone that you want, and you can train them the way you want to be trained. Basically, you want whatever needs you want. I need help bathing, or I need cooking, I need help cleaning up, I need transportation to my doctor's appointments, you know, and at the beginning, they agreed to those services. And, you know, for us, it works out well because, you know, I don't have Medicaid and I don't have long-term care and I don't have the money to pay for, you know, a company like yours to get that information for me or to have a caregiver. So for this works for us.
Right. And under the Medicaid umbrella, there's all kinds of different umbrellas. We are a Medicaid provider for the ECDC waiver under Medicaid. So there's different levels of help for Medicaid. And what I don't know from that aspect of it, are those individuals, do they do background checks on them?
No, I do the background check.
Cool. You know what?
That's right.
I'm gonna tell you, that's even better. I'm gonna tell you what, whether it is a cleaning person or whether it's somebody you hire privately to do something in your home, I highly suggest you do a background check. Thank you. That was another thing I
Joan?
wanted to mention. A background check. Yes, sir.
Did you say it's $1,400 a month on Medicare?
No, 12 Medicaid, she said it was
Medicaid,
12.
Medicaid. There's a difference
Hey.
between Medicaid
Well-
and Medicare.
So how can the system ever work? That's less than $50 a day.
I know.
It's $30, 36 cents an hour.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
count a 40-hour work,
I mean,
40-hour living.
You can have the best intentions in the world, but $50 a day is not going to get you.
Well, you know what? That's,
Providers,
guess what? That's why I say we are trying desperately in this area to get a lot of that changed because it's really hard. I'm speaking from a Medicaid perspective. You know what? You've got to find a balance. And, you know, when you think about the most you'll ever make is maybe $1 an hour, you know, that's tough to keep your lights on.
you
It
can't
is.
afford your horse.
No, you can't. You
Yeah.
cannot. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Two comments. One was my mother-in-law. And her physician over at Bon Secours recommended Bon Secours Hospital.
Yes.
And as time went along, well, she was there 6 months. They had a minister. The minister hit her up for putting them on her donor list, like you're speaking of, man. Except the minister didn't know how I was involved. And he, no, I'm going to do breath matters. But the minister hit her up for it. I think that's how they get in there.
You know what? I
Right.
probably don't need to say this on the camera, but we will talk about that later.
And, well, with my mom, I hired an individual, stayed there 2 weeks, off 4 days, came back and worked 2 weeks. And she cleaned and she took care of mom. And she said, what I need to do is take photos of everything in the house. She said, these people that do what I do, they got sticky fingers. They'll steal you blind.
Oh, I don't like to hear that.
That's what she said. So I did the photos, passed them to all the siblings, and
You know, that's a really great suggestion. I highly suggest that if anybody feels uncomfortable, that that's a great option. But I really would like to, I want you to take this to heart too. You know, I hire hundreds of people. And you know, we start off a journey with our caregivers, sort of knowing the expectations and our values, our core. But what I do understand is this, there might be a one or two that guess what, they're not gonna last long because they don't have the same values.